It's Coleman, Lady of Camelot. Coleman ahead in front to Lady of Camelot. Coleman, Lady of Camelot. The lady dives and Lady of Camelot got up. Lady of Camelot, a spectacular win in the Golden Slipper.
Welcome to Bet Doctor, behind the curtain look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host Scoot. I've got Johnny Walter on Moneybags. He's got the BMW in the driveway. He's upgraded from
Mate, I'm downgraded. I've gone from a Skoda to I don't even know what you're going to borrow your car after this.
Yeah, my car's back in business. Melbourne town, and we've got DK in the studio, Lone Ranger again.
Lone Ranger, Scoot. Lone Ranger, yeah, I missed. No, my old China, he's decided to stay home. Don't know what he's up to, Nico, but no, I'm all right, Scoot. Mrs. is back after 3 weeks in Antarctica, so finally can take a breath and get back to other things and looking after the kids full time.
Oh, Jesus. You would have had a ball the last couple of weeks, but Nico, this is a little mini press conference show for you. You've temporarily hung up the binoculars or whatever you call it.
He's not a binocular. Oh, he needs him at Caulfield because he's 3 metres back.
No, he's having a little bit of a break from the yard, and he's getting the keys. He's going on holidays. So, Nico, well-earned break too, Nico. You've done a fantastic job over the last few years, or you've been on the yard for, 5 or 6 years or something now, so well-earned.
Yeah, and thanks to all the punters that have supported us across the journey and the whole Little Birdie team. But yeah, decided it's probably time to put the boots on for the season for footy. So had a few training sessions now and definitely feeling it, that's for sure. But I think we'll be better for the first few runs and we might be coming good later in the season. I might peak sort of 10th or 12th up might be my strategy for footy. But off for the Easter weekend, probably like most punters actually. I think everyone tends to sort of jet set away for the Easter weekend somewhere. So, yesterday was a very busy day. You're getting all the form done and all the duties done so I can get out there today. So, looking forward to it.
DM's been hammered, Nico. There's been multiple customers asking, will we see you back for Flemington Spring Carnival or Caulfield Cup time, or, what's going on? Is there any hope to get you back? I know you're taking a break, so you don't have to give us the answer now, but what percentage chance are you to get back for spring in the yard for a little bit of a cameo performance?
Oh, probably a big percentage. I don't know what else I'd be doing. So.
Outstanding. All right, so all hope's not lost. That's music to your ears, Walt.
Hey, all hope is lost. I'm lost. I'm completely lost. What? So there's the rumours is he's going up towards northern New South Wales to move in with Paul Daly. That's not true.
Yeah, well, I don't want to give him up.
Okay, no worries.
But well-earned break, and there's plenty of racing on over the next couple of days. So hopefully he'll get to Coffs Harbour so he can tune in for the $500,000 race at Yarra Valley with it at the 1,200 metre start. That'll be a sight to behold. Looks like there's fat prize. There used to be a time where there was no racing, or I think
how long ago was that? Was that 5 years ago?
Perth and Singapore, I think, were the only Good Friday meetings, but now they just can't help themselves. So
it went like Perth, then I think Hobart popped up or something, didn't they? And then like Tassie popped up, and then now we've got 6 meetings, I think, in 5 states. Yeah.
No, nothing for New South Wales.
Oh my God. Like, isn't it amazing? But we'll have a $27 million Easter egg bonus or something. Maybe when he park, he'll like pump it up to 20 mil or something.
He's
swan song. Friday.
Couple one, really, really funny week through the press. I think Rosehill. The next proposal now is so no one's really keen to go out to Timbuktu. So the new proposal is to build a replacement track around the brick pit at Homebush, saving the green and golden bell frogs. So that's actually a real story. And you knew something about these green and golden bell frogs. Well,
so back in
my surprise,
back in the heyday, they must get. I don't know why. Obviously, there's a lot of endangered animals and things, but they get these crazy grants. But Longreef Golf Club, where I grew up, they used to get a ridiculous amount of money for these things. And these the frog hunters would come in at night and be there with their glow hats on like they were miners in the water and stuff, and we'd be sitting there throwing golf balls at them. But then they worked out after about 2 years that we had a lot of eels in there that were eating the frogs up. So our grant dried up. So they must have moved to Homebush after they worked out golf courses weren't the greatest place to try and regenerate the green and golden bell frog.
I'll tell you what, bigger endangered species is the semi and the pro punter, the lone wolf and the blokes that are just trying to battle it out. So that's what needs saving, and we need to save the tracks and we need to save racing going forward. But what they are going to do to save it is 10 race cards. They're here to stay down in Victoria, so I think they're only going to park them in the winter months. So common sense prevails there. I know there was a bit of poo-pooing from some of the major race clubs and stuff like that, but if you start chopping races on the major days, you're going to have to start chopping prize money and all that sort of thing. So you can't have it both ways. And I was interested to see that Sportsbet revenue dropped back 7.1% year on year. So they have come off, which is interesting, and also the EBITDA, so I guess you could call it net income in layman's terms. So that took it down by 27%. So it's compliance, it's POC tax, and downward pressure from, I guess, the softening of the wider economy. So
and that's what they divulge, right? And whispers are that their executives have sort of said expecting it to accelerate from that.
Yes.
And that's Sportsbet, who have the biggest marketing budgets.
Yep.
The biggest, whatever you want to call it, parachute.
Strategies.
Yep. Absolute. So, yeah, but no, everything's all good.
Ding, ding, ding. So, yeah, watch that space. And the other one that's probably more up your alley, DK, and you've probably got an opinion, and there's some good opinions, I guess, both ways on this one, is the Johnny Rocker situation. Old Nicky Ryan nearly produced boil over of the new millennium or wherever we're at in time, but he's charged up the rating, 75 to 106. He's finally figured out the keys to the horse. Big leap. And it's obviously happened with your horse the other day, Territory Express, running second as well. What are your thoughts about ratings going up and down, DK? Are they too slow, too fast? What's your take?
No, I don't. No, you threw to me, Scoop, but I don't ever take. No, I deal in maidens mainly. Who none of that worries me. While to be a better man to talk to. I said everyone's an opinion on Dan Owen. Even John McLeod had an opinion on it this morning. Mike Simons, blokes with sort of effects, but seemed like a rapid jump to me. It seems like a big penalty, but Walt to be better man to talk about than that to me.
It's just insane. Like, it's a lightly raced horse, second, third start. Maybe a little bit more, but Johnny Rocker's been getting beaten up around the place a bit, and different train up in Queensland. He's no slouch, but what was he, a 75 rater after 6 or 7 starts, something like that? So he's fairly well exposed, and you've basically ended his career in one start. I think they got a couple $100,000 prize money, but really, is that realistic? Like, what are they actually trying to do? And I listened to the fella's explanation of it. It just was absolutely ridiculous. It was just nothing. Like, he's obviously not a punter, because how can a horse go up in relative terms, 15 kilos at the benchmarks and compete in anywhere near a level he was only just competitive at a week before? It's not as if he's a new horse. So their discretion's got to be, relative, I think. And it's just like Territory Express is even, I think it's had like 15 starts. And, and I think he's in a provincial midway final or whatever it is as well. It's just, you basically end a horse's career. They did it to Straight Charge last prep, and they just continue to do it. They do it to horses that run second and third in country championships and things like that. They get beat 6 lengths and they go up 15 ratings points. You just put them out to pasture. That's the end of them. So I don't know what the goal is. The trainers have got to cop it a little bit, because they know it's going to happen, right? Yeah. I'm not saying Nick Ryan expected the horse to run second, but you've got to place your horses knowing that's a chance of happening. Yeah, exactly. So it's a bit on them as well, but I think it's insane. And they definitely don't drop them as fast as they accelerate them. I think they seem to try and push all these horses.
That's the key.
Yeah,
you can't come
down. And they're trying to push them all to fill these fields up, right, of these higher benchmark races. But you can't get out of them once you're in them.
Yeah. And that's what
that's the issue.
Yeah, and that's what Mike Simon said as well. And Mike's got a lot of horses and shares in a lot of horses, and that tends to make sense for me. And that they wouldn't have to, if they didn't push them up so fast and actually brought them back, they wouldn't need to oversupply and create more horses in the market and more races. So there'd be less wastage. So there's definitely something in that. So whether it's a deliberate ploy, but again, they're just creating their own problems and a rod for their own back.
Definitely is, and it's not just this case. Like, the benchmark system is designed to push horses quickly up in grade, and then it takes them forever to go back because they want to fill up these. Like, it's intentional. There's no way around it. That's what they're trying to do. Country trainers in New South Wales, like, once they win a 1 or 2, they're out of their area. So it's right throughout the system, and they're trying to pad these races. But what do you get? You get so say Johnny Rocker goes to a benchmark 100 next week, and he's got 59 or 60 kilos. What price are you going to be? It's not it's not actually creating competitive racing. It's creating padding of races that your horses just get in the way, basically, and they're not competitive.
Anyway, so plenty of interesting commentary there on Twitter. So check that out if you want to enter the debate. But yeah, just another thing they sort of need to have a bit of a look at, because it tends to be a little bit of an issue. Today's show is going to be a beauty. So we've got Australia Cup, which looks a cracker, and it stood the test of time, that one. And then you got Tancred Vinery Stakes up north. Last week was an absolute beauty. We had Bubba's Bay getting the chocolates for Donny. Walt found Lady of Camelot. I think Nico just missed out with I Am Me. But interestingly, you might have a bit of a slow for Imperatrice, or a little bit of a warning when it goes up north, Nico?
Oh, I thought I'd seen her parade better than what she had on Saturday, and I think Johnny Rocker probably running her to such a short margin suggests she might not have been at her absolute best. So yeah, I think there's definitely things coming, in her next run that you could probably look out for, but she just got so much heart. I definitely don't think she was at her best, but she just dug in. She's always there for the fight, and she's always there pretty much winning recently. So she's a hard horse to really take on, but tried her best last Saturday and didn't sort of work out. I thought a few of those other horses didn't run anywhere near their best, like Balani Patina and I and Me.
Agree.
And then Johnny Rocker, flying at her late. Like, I think it's just a reflection of how bad the rest of them went, not so much how bad Imperatrice went. So,
She set a task too, right? Like, she was ridden like the best horse in the race, I guess the way you'd put it.
He wasn't going to die wondering, was he, Opie?
Yeah, it was a good ride if you were on. There was probably never too many doubts. Rode her like the best horse, but I think there probably would be something in the back of my mind that would suggest maybe next start she could be even more vulnerable deeper into the campaign heading to Sydney.
If that was I Wish I Win, not Johnny Rocker.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he would have put 2 or 3 on, I reckon. But yeah, that's probably
that's the
main
thing
question.
with it. There's never been like a real A-grader that she's come up against, and that's what she's going to have to probably face up in Sydney. But it's interesting what they do with Think About It. Does he go back to the TJ, or they push on to the Donny? Private Eye was pretty plain last week, and I Wish I Win could have jumped out a lot better. So I think from when we went into the autumn thinking the sprinting ranks were pretty strong, they're probably dropping away a bit just as the season goes on.
Yeah,
here comes sunshine in Paris.
to steal a quote from Tommy Turbo at Maps of Brisbane, who's getting plenty of airtime at the moment. Old Johnny Rocker puts a little bit of a drag on the Imperatrice at form, I would have thought. Speaking of Queensland, Brookhaven was a nice little steamer last week for me, and DK got an absolute peach on Salsita from B. Shin, who is just absolutely timing them to perfection, as we saw the day later in the Golden Slipper as an absolute cracking ride, that one. Where will I go Saturday? Well, we shall see later in the show.
No one knows.
No one knows.
No one knows.
I've got a bit of a funny one this week. I'm hunting value. I think I've got a place moral, and I'll be launching this horse in multis every which way. But it's good to see DK get on the board also, and a little bit of fan mail too. I don't usually toot the trumpet, but a bloke must have had an absolute field day here. Cheers to all you blokes. This is a little DM he sent in. Had a massive day on the punt today. Brizzy winners, Sydney winners, Melbourne winners, DK's winner. Got the old boy to lay the F out of Storm Boy and Switzerland, and had a real good crack on Lady of Camelot. Liked it a couple of weeks ago, kept missing the price, but tuned in at $12, tuned in and had more after Walt's comment on the show, and I went fast and hard at whatever I could get. Legends and pros at what you do. So nice little bit of fan mail and a hat tip to everyone. So gosh, it sounds like it's fat to him, and he must have just had some bit of multi-magic on a couple of those runners. So good to see that people are tuning in and getting a good result, because that's what we're trying to do here.
It's not easy to get the old multis, and especially like when we all sort of land one, it's hard to even line them up, So the one that one of us misses is normally the one everyone bankers, but it's great to see someone go the right way about it.
So fingers crossed we can light it up again this week. TopSport Steamers, they were 2 from 4 again, so a bit of consistency there. Imperatrice and Lady of Camelot. And we've got TopSport's got the protest pay at Top Fluck, best of the best. Tristan's back in town. He's actually, I think he's got a meeting with Racing Victoria today. So hopefully we get some updates from there, and to see if there's going to be any changes to sort of combat the rise in POC tax when he sort of hit July. So it's interesting to see what model they use at the moment because the current one is quite prohibitive for him to grow his business. Let's have a look at Flemington, and we're starting to look at the back end of the card here, odds courtesy of TopSport, and it's an interesting market here. The 2,000 metre race is thrown up a couple of short price favourites here in Mr. Brightside and $2.45 and Pride of Jenny $2.50 in my opinion. Geez, they haven't left much meat on the bone with those horses. You got the Waller trained Tissue at $6.50, $9 Cascadian, and then you're starting to hunt out to sort of $13 for the Kiwi Legato, which adds an interesting little mix to this race. Definitely looks like it's got a lot more depth than the All-Star Mile, as the betting suggests. But let's have a look at the All-Star Mile as a reference point for Mr. Brightside and Pride of Jenny.
Yeah, well, I think at 2,000 metres, him drawn barrier one, he's going to be nowhere near as far back as what he was on this occasion. I still sort of think he probably had his chance if he was going to beat her, but I really think he's the advantage getting to 2,000 metres, and she's probably a big question mark at 2,000 metres. If Pride of Jenny comes out and does a similar sort of performance where she runs into the ground and wins, I think she's the best horse in Australia. On Saturday, if she can do that at 2,000, that is a big question mark. You know, doing it at a mile's a lot different to the scenario she's going to see on Saturday. And I think Mr. Brightside's drawn to get all the favourites from barrier one. He drew inside in the Cox Plate. It was a bit slowly away, but then Willow used him up and he got the favours in that run, was only just beaten by Romantic Warrior. That was a fast run, 2,000 metre race. And from a ratings point of view, it was coming off a pretty similar last start rating in the King George before he went into that Cox Plate and then run it near Courier Peak. So I think he's set to get right to his best there on Saturday. I think from barrier one, Williams will ride him aggressive. I think there's a real chance he sits second and just tags Pride of Jenny sort of, 2 or 3 lengths off her potentially, and then it's come and get me. So, yeah, I've been with him his last 2 times he's met her, or 3 times he's met her, and we've got the better of her once, and the other 2 times she's beat us. So I think 2,000 metres, he holds all the advantages, and just with the draw, I think it just could work out absolutely perfect for him. So the horse is flying. He's just too far back last start. And yeah, I think Pride of Jenny's a real question mark at 2,000. The horse in the race that's probably the real deadly horse for mine's Tissue. Like if you just isolate her Flemington form, it is very good. She was great behind Pride of Jenny in the Empire Rose where she was flying home late. Then she won the Old McKinnon, which was a Champion Stakes, I'm sure they call it now. And then last start, she was okay, winning the Blamey. I think she'll take some improvement from that. And she probably gets the run if Mr. Rightside does have to do too much work to catch up to Pride of Jenny and he's, left in front a long way out or something like that. She's probably the horse that's just coming at him late. So I'm going down with the ship. I'm going again, Mr. Brightside. I'm going to have a betting right up, and I think I'll save a Tissue. I think that's going to be the race for me.
She was bloody good in the Champion Stakes at Tissue, and just looks like Waller Grand Final day, and this is the race that she's been targeted to all along. So she was dead as a doornail first up. She was, I think, just had a bit of a class edge on them in the Blamey, so won that sort of by default. But DK, barrier one, as you said many times on this show, this horse can be used up, and as Nico said, he'll be sitting much closer from barrier one, especially after the old C. Williams roasting since last start. Are you going to corner with the old boy, Mr. Brightside?
Just on that Willow roasting, I mean, everyone wants to, he's one of the greatest ambassadors who's got everything he does off the track. He's just one of the A-grade human beings, and then, I don't think he did much wrong the other day. He drew 11. The Jimmy Star one, it's just for the roasting on him is just ridiculous. But it can, absolutely. He's not the best beginner all the time, Mr. Brightside. So, but you'd think he'd poke up and sit, but he's going to have to drag up behind her. And I know he ran second in that Cox Plate, but he did hug the rail all the way, and there was plenty of hard luck stories behind it with Fangirl and things like that. I'm not, 2000 at Flemington's, with Pride of Jenny, making it a big test. Not as bullish as Nico, and same with both of them. So I'm a bit in the Tissue camp. I thought it was an extraordinary run in the Empire Race, and she's proven she can pull big ground off Pride of Jenny. Well, it is extraordinary. There's only a horse that came out and made all this ground and then went and won the Champion Stakes. Has had the 2 like you said, Scoot, you guys have sort of gone into detail. Had the bowl around first up, did what it had to do second up, ready to peak. The others ran as good as they can pretty much the other day. They already have. I love looking for the horses set to elevate, and I think in this race that's a tissue.
I tend to agree, DK. I think there's two horses that look clearly set for this race, and that's a Tissue and Cascadian. And if I go deeper into this race in the next sort of 24, 48 hours, I think that's the way I'll be siding. So, yeah, I'm a little bit concerned that Pride of Jenny and Mr. Brightside have had their grand finals, and these two may have a couple of lengths of improvement up their sleeve. But, I think we're all sort of...
No, I think Pride of Jenny, this race there's no leader. There's her. So he doesn't have to be an imbo and go 1,000 miles an hour the first 1,000. And if he actually conserves her for the first 1,000 and then drops the hammer at the 1,000... I don't think they'll catch her.
Wow.
But I just think he needs to actually put his thinking cap on a bit and work out how to use her up and when to use her up. Because if he goes too quick, I think it definitely could come into the other angles. But if he manages the first 1,000, I don't think they'll get past her.
Yeah, looking at the race, it doesn't. You would have thought that he tries to do something like that. Like, you doubt he's going to go 1,000,000 miles an hour just from the start at 2,000. She tried that before up in Sydney, and that was when Regan Bayless got dragged in. So she was going too fast, and now that's her pattern. So
he's going to know he's going to have Mr. Brightside up his ginger, though. I mean, you don't want to go. He's got to find the balance. Well, too, got to find the balance. You've
got to go 1,000 out. That's right. You can't go 6. You'll get out sprinted.
Yeah.
It's probably 1,000. It's probably the sweet spot. And will Legato cross it? It's probably Legato could cross Mr. Brightside, which would be interesting at the start.
Well, he's been grubby out on a few occasions, Mr. Brightside. So he might be a half a length slow and then have to sort of poke up. So yeah, there's a chance that could happen.
Yeah, I think she's true. I think that just, even though it's worked out well for him, 7 with no leaders worked out for her too.
Well, we'll just have to put that down as a 4-horse quaddy leg from the team here, and we're going to have a Gary Harley box trifecta, Mr. Brightside, Pride of Jenny, a Tissue and Cascadian.
Yeah, well, it'll be hard to beat, I reckon.
And then just get pineappled when the hard fit 2,000 metre horse
comes down the outside.
Legato. Well, Legato's the only horse that's sort of gone 2,000, and then you got these other horses that, God bless them for...
It's got beat at like 3s on and 5s on or something, hasn't it, Legato? So it probably will be the one that comes out and lobs it.
Probably finally fit.
Yeah.
And he's had to do a bit of chasing too, Legato, in that Bone Crusher. So it's nearly a no-bet race for me now that we've all sort of talked.
Well, $5 her was the bet, wasn't it, like a couple of weeks ago? Well, so I reckon you might get a better... I think she might drift pretty hard, especially with Brightside drawing one. And the betting itself will be very interesting.
All right, so Nico's gone into the race in probably most depths that his picks Mr. Brightside, and we've all grade everyone up that's listen to the show. So terrific. We're going to jump to Flemington race 10 here, and Rheinberg's a favourite, $3.90, $7.50 Euphoric. Golden Pass $7.50, Gringotts $8. I think it's a dual nominator.
It's going to stay in Sydney apparently.
Okay, so there's a scratching coming there. Fortunate Kiss $10, Picaroon $13, Dashing $14, Belay Rich is $14, Green Fly, and Better the rest. Rheinberg is the horse that we're going to have a look at here, and Get Celine 1.5 kilos. Talk us through it, Nico.
Yeah, he was a big drifter in the market this day at Ballarat. It was 1,100 metres, and he's a horse that's been his best at 1,400. I probably still thought here is going to win the race, and then Twin Perfections just sprinted him a bit late. And he probably peaks on his run looking at his sectionals. His last 200, Twin Perfection, Swiss Exile, come home faster. So I thought it was a good first up run, and he'll take good improvement from that. Second up here at 1,400. He is drawn wide, but there is a bit of speed he can follow across. I'd sort of expected to sit in the first 4. If you put Celine on, I doubt you're going back. She's a jockey that's sort of noted for being an on-speed rider, so they've elected to go for the claim here. And the more I looked at the map for a few of the other horses like Golden Path, Euphoric, Gringotts when he was in, but DAC might be going to Sydney, like they're sort of drawn tricky positions, even Fortunate Kiss, where they're probably going to have to go back and give him a big head start, and he might be a better horse than them as well. So very consistent, won all these races last campaign, great first up run, jumped out really well going into that, and just looks like he's potentially, going to be extremely hard to beat here. And then third up is probably where we see the best of him. So I'm not really betting up. I think third up is when you can probably really have a good crack at him. And I would love if Mick D stayed aboard because he's got a really good association with this horse. But Camp are doing a terrific job, and I really like the first up run, Matt favours. So tick some boxes for me. And just watching throughout the week, the Wolf Den video on Team Hay or Lindsay Park, you can see why the boys are having so much success with, horses like Reinberg and Mr. Brightside that they buy to New Zealand, take them through their grades and just keep winning, like how much money they're winning for their connections. Like Reinberg has won nearly 300,000, 250,000. He's only had 11 starts. So, they're doing a fantastic job with these horses. And it was definitely interesting viewing how they go through all their procedures and that throughout the stable. So it's definitely worth a watch. But I think he just should get a few favours here, and he's going to be the one they have to come and catch, and he still could be the best horse in the race. So happy to be with Reinberg. I thought the price was more than fair. Just looking at the price with TopSport, around $3.90. I thought sort of thought you could get him closer to $3 with the map advantages, and now with Gringotts coming out, and you're probably going to be taking somewhere near that. So tick some boxes, and I think you'll be hard to beat, Reinberg.
DK?
I know Reinberg well. Yeah, no, he's going to be right there. But there's one. I'm on a couple of middle pinners here. So there's at his last run of his last prep, his last win, he lined up against Dashing. Right, Dashing's a pretty handy horse, Dashing, and Dashing only just beat Dashing. So he crossed, and Dashing sat in the 1-1, and Dashing came after him and just missed him. And so they line up against each other here. Dashing draws 5, Reinberg draws, I think it's 11. He's going to come across, probably sit outside the lead or something. Dashing parked behind him again. Dashing meets him better at the weights. This time he's got the run under the belt behind Johnny Rocker. That's not bad form. First up behind Johnny Rocker. Second up in trip. Was first up last time. 3 kilo claim means it meets Reinberg better at the weights for that Sandown run. I think a kilo or two better. So at good odds, I think it's $15 or something. I think Dashing sort of and it's got run well here. And another one, I like a horse. One of mine is Pickeroon. Pickeroon was an old Michael O'Leary horse, and had one first prep for T Dab in glass prep, culminated in winning the country final over the mile at Flemington here. I think it's trial loved its 1,200 metre trial the other day, just smoked to the line. I think Tom Dabney have a better handle on it now, having his second prep for it. Looks like first up, B Shin. It'll sort of roll and be in that first 5 or 6 as well, just probably behind Dashing and Reinberg somewhere. And it's $15 as well, so I think it's set to run a big race fresh. So I acknowledge Reinberg, sort of he's a winner and stuff like that, but I think a couple of horses parked behind him at good odds can come after him.
Yeah, Dashing's sort of one of mine too, DK, and I do acknowledge that he gets a nice little weight swing on Euphoric as well. So I've always had a little bit of time for Euphoric. I remember him winning fresh that day at Geelong over 1,500 metres. So 1,400 metres Flemington should be ideal for Euphoric. But as I sort of looked at the race quickly, I do notice that Dashing carried, 61.5 kilos in that final, that Flemington final. So,
he normally goes forward. He couldn't get forward that day, ended up out the back. He's normally an on-pace runner.
Yeah, he's a bit of a character, old Dashing. He can have a bit of a sweat pre-race, and yeah, they do some funny things from their barrier draws. Whether they've been trying to teach him to settle, he's a bit of a tricky horse, Dashing. So whether they just let him sort of be and don't want to fizz him up too much, but I can definitely see your angles there. So, the quaddy legs are going to be strong there as well. So Reinberg, Euphoric, Pickeroon, and Dashing there.
So it's race 10, isn't it? You've got to try and nail it. So get the prize.
So I think that's the way we're going to go there. As we said, no Manning Yard Mail. So Nico's on vacay, but bit of music to the ears. We haven't lost him forever, so he's going to be back hopefully in spring off a fresh break, and he's probably going to kick 100 in the local comp as well. So they'll be full of confidence.
No chance.
When do the markets go up for that?
What's that?
The goal kicks in the TopSport.
Yeah, they do this little funny little betting on those minor leagues. So we'll be waiting for the text message.
Manning Yard Mail there.
Nico can't bet, but we can. We can have a little bit of a dabble.
Well, I think the line's about 12, I reckon. I'd be happy with that for the season.
No, I'm happy to take the overs.
I'm taking the overs, yeah. Backing him in.
There'll be no funny business down in Nico's league. It's been a tough week for the AFL. Up north in Sydney, the first race we're going to have a look at here is the Tulloch Stakes, and I like this one, Walt. This is race 4 at Rosehill. Mark's the favourite, $3.10. Kintyre $4, Saltcoat $6.50, Fist of Fury $11. High Dandy $14, Townhauser $15. It might come out, and Texas Fireball $15. Glad you think so, $18. Replay we're going to have a look at here is High Dandy from the Brad Widdop yard. And this is him making all out in front in the orange.
Yeah, so first up this time in, he trialled really well and he was dragged out to last and they walked and he sort of forgot to put him in the race, old Tyler. This time, changed the tactics to be ridden more forward. We'd sort of hoped he'd be midfield and he shot him straight to the front and the race was pretty much over. It was an advantage to lead this day. The rail was certainly out, but you can see sort of pricking his ears through the line. Definitely haven't got to the bottom of that horse there. So it's just a progressive, basically barrier trial heading into this race. Are there any other?
No
other replays.
Wymark was super impressive last start. Put a gap on him. He's put a gap on in the last couple of occasions.
He did. He's seventh up, like very fit. He's very well placed. He's certainly the horse to beat here for those reasons. Very adaptable. He's won off slow tempos, fast tempos. He had a really nice run the other day. Looked visually impressive. Whether he was as impressive or not, that's probably the $1 million question here, but he's definitely the starting point. Kintai's got the class for sure, but he's sort of jumping from 15 to 2,000, which is his little weak point, and that's kind of why I went looking away here. Drew 4, they put up $26, which was lasted about as long as another Will's price did in the Doncaster Prelude, but he into $16, $15 now. I just think he's really on the up. We saw another good horse yesterday that was it called Bullets High or something. These Ace High, a really nice middle distance horse. I'm not a big breeding buff when it comes to it, but it's always great to have that box ticked as well. And he just looks like he's going to thrive on 2,000 metres. I think Schiller the Thriller will find it hard to mess up too bad. I think he should be in the first 4 or 5 in the run very naturally, which is important in these sorts of races. I think getting stuck behind the wrong horses is a bit of a death sentence. But to me, he's like clearly the value sort of each way play in the race. And, Wymark, Kintai, good chances. Noisy Boy's the other horse that I thought was interesting, but try and line him up. They keep putting in, change the tactics to be ridden more forward. And he's been out the back his last couple and he ran okay the other day and can certainly improve. But it's a decent bunch of horses. He's probably the only horse I could see potentially sort of jumping out of the ground and winning the Derby. So, it's interesting to see what he does here. And Kieran's got his horse, Mornington Pier, that's typical Kieran, 49 days between runs out of a maiden to a group race, and you've got to try and work him out. But, it's a good race, Tulloch Stokes.
I thought, Kintai would run super and be a big improver off its last start. Any thoughts from you Melbourne boys, or not got that far?
Not got that far, me, about Nico.
No, I had a look at the race and thought, Wymark was huge winning that race 2 starts ago, and then last start beat the older horses. He looks like he's really well set up for the 2,000 metres here, and just looking at the rest of the field, there doesn't really seem like anything that's jumping out of the pack. That maybe Walt's horse, that's a bit unexposed, but of the horses that have the form, in the better class of races, none of them seem like they have the upside of potentially Wymark does. And it'll be interesting, rather if he wins here and then backs up in the Derby. Will be intriguing to assess him, off that form profile, because it's been a good lead up recently, the Tulloch to the Derby. So there might be
interesting that he was
jumping out of the ground late,
nommed, but not Derby nommed. And then they skipped the Rosehill Guineas, put him in here, and I don't know if they've paid up for the Derby. So I think it's like 55 late entry. So it will be interesting.
He'd probably have to win to pay up for the Derby. It's usually how they roll.
For sure.
Race 7 is the Vinery Stud Stakes, market only here. We got Orchestral, $1.50 favourite, $4.40 is the Doozy, Autumn Angel, $7.50, Kamochi, $11, $2 Vita, 21, Queen of Dragons, 34, Mount Bullock, $41. Not sure what Gaz is doing with my old fave Kamochi. I'd be I just don't understand what he's doing here. I
Gaz is doing what Gaz does, mate.
That's terrible.
I
thought she's like 1,400, 1,500 metre horse max, and now he's got her out to 2,000. He's trying to kill her. Gaz, what are you doing?
The tin hat, which is what goes on first here. As soon as the barrier draws out, you just have to chuckle at J-Mac draws too, and poor old Zadazi. So Jersey drives 7 or 8 or whatever it does. But I think what were they like? Maybe even money and 5 to 2 or something like that prior to all in betting. As soon as he drew 2 and Zardozi drew awkward, he was straight into odds on. Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward race, isn't it? Like, as in, you just hope that Zardozi gets a similar ride to last start or run in transit and doesn't have to sort of get back and circle them, even though it's sort of big field. Because I don't think she can do that and run down Orchestral. If she does, she's even better than anyone suggests. But she looks the real deal, Orchestral. As you said, sort of Kamochi and that. They've got to overcome tough setups as well as beating a couple of really smart fillies on the rise. So it rarely works out the old match races, does it? But I think this one should. Zardozi just needs that little bit of luck in the run or a little bit of tempo, because there doesn't look a lot of that either. But I think Orchestra will start very short and be very hard to beat.
Yeah, the only negative I can find is, 2,100, 2,400 back to 2,000. Does it take the ping out of it? We shall see.
It looks freakish.
Yeah. The next one we're going to have a look at is the Doncaster Prelude. Good luck to anyone that got the $15 another will.
Yeah, how many people is that? Show us your bet slips, please. The amount of coverage that has with everyone, every minute on Michael Kroll goes to, the $15 this and the $15 that and all those, the overs guides and this and that. Please. You know how they bet with their skirts on these days, these joints. Seriously. Be fucking 10 people have probably got $200 on it between them.
It's just more laughable, the prices they come up with. Even the thing in the last at Kensington yesterday, they put up $3.70 or something. It was a couple of 101 scratchings, and it starts at $1.60 firm. It's just you just love their jobs. You know what I mean? You just love to have the security of being wrong every time, and it doesn't matter what price you put up because no one can take it, like you're saying. So it's a bit of an embarrassment, the whole thing.
I think Benny Clifton was the old. He used to work at Sports Betting. He works for Casey now, but he put it out. He said when he quoted the $15 for another will, he said, "Surely this is a case of being drunk on the job, putting up $15 in another will." I mean, no other. How else can you explain it? Seriously, it's just.
They put up $26 on it More Victorious as well, which is $7 second favourite. So they've put up what, 7 and 4. They've put up 11% about what's now 70%. And it's a 20-horse field. It's not easy to make that mistake. It's not actually easy to do that.
They must know how to make in the field. That's the only possible.
But even then, you keep it safe, don't you?
Keep it safe. Put up $5.
Yep. And they would have laid the hell out of it at $5. We're talking about the race now.
You blokes finished?
Yeah.
Rant over.
So
did I even read out the odds?
No. Read them out,
I didn't think I did.
$15, we'll start with another will. Yeah.
15 into $1.90. A More Victorious, $8.50. Von Hawk, 11 in from 15. Coin toss, $12. Off a track record at Canberra in the National Sprint. Is that right?
Yeah, with Louis the Fly on it. Yep.
Yeah. Rustic Steel, $15. Berkshire Shadow, $21. Huda, $21. And then you got Bold Mac, $21. New Endeavour, $21. Vienna Princess, $21. Fierce and $26. Well, $26. And I can't be bothered reading the rest out, but I do see little old Monomec in there. Wahaha Falls. Yeah, it's got a bit of a tail, this race.
It does. Another will everyone can find except the bloke who put the markets up at the tab. But draws absolutely ideally, sneaks into the field, all that sort of stuff. It just looks the winner for sure. But if you want to be devil's advocate, they're going to go hard. You've got Louis the Fly there off the Canberra track record drawn inside. You've got Schumacher on Victorious, who cooked it last start. She'll probably do the same again. Fierce and drawn outside it. They'll probably cook each other again. And then even sort of Timmy's got to come across New Endeavour. They're going to go quick. The horse I want to ask the boys about, because I can't believe it won last start, is Von Hawk. It doesn't have a rider down, and it's not nominated anywhere else except for the Doncaster, which it won't get into. So maybe they're just waiting to see if something is scratched or another jockey that pops up, because I would assume they're going to run. I thought it was definitely the horse that creates interest away from another will if it had no luck or whatever. And then Monomec does come back out of weight for age form, which, he's a little bit in the wilderness, is he? But he's one that could certainly. He's only got beaten. He's got beat 7 by Pride of Jenny, but that wasn't that. That's not bad for this race, is it? I thought they were the two away from the favourite, who looks certainly extremely obvious and hard to beat.
Big price to play. So if you're on at $26 and More Victorious, 15 another will, $7 a place. Monomec looks like a nice way to round out your book there. Any
Von Hawk
thoughts down south?
Yeah, look, he beat. I thought he was concerned 1,100 to 1,400 the other day up against Amenable, and I don't think Amenable had any excuses. And he's a handy horse. He's pretty good horse, Amenable. So third up, good trainer Cliff Brown. He's proved that down here. I know what you think, Nico, about that horse, but he's as an outlier there. I agree with Walt.
Yeah, it was a horse that I saw in the yard, and I thought, this is probably the best I've seen in parade, but didn't really probably take as much notice of that as I probably should have. It didn't surprise me at all that he won the race after. Just seems like he's come of age a bit this campaign, and always been a horse who showed a lot of ability, and I think they just sort of took him through his grades and taught him a few things before getting right up to this grade. Off their ratings last start, he is definitely in play to beat another. I think he's quite short another will, to be honest, at $1.90. There's not, I know that he beat a few horses last start. There's not a lot of strength to his form. he can overdo it in the early parts of the race. He's got a serious, he's got a big engine. He's a talent, but if you really want to take $1.90 about a horse that still does so much wrong, I was kind of looking to get him beat with probably Von Hawk, Muhammad, and maybe one of these on paces that could out-tough him. So it'll be interesting if he wins here and where he sort of fits into the Doncaster, because he's going to have to elevate. I know he won very impressively last start, but from a ratings point of view, he's going to have to improve like another 3 or 4 lengths to be winning at Doncaster. So if he does do that here, it'll be fascinating to see how he goes into that. He'll probably start favourite, I would have thought. So looks a deep Doncaster this year with Celestial Legend, Obem Boomerai.
Have you seen
the
Obem
others?
Boomerai? Have you seen? He doesn't look like the same. He looks like he's been on steroids the last 6 months. He looks like he's absolutely a different horse. He looks very scary.
So it's not a gimme year, is it? And the market's already, I think he's already second pick, and if he wins on Saturday, he'll be even shorter, you would have thought. So yeah, I'm probably going to risk him. I think he's a little bit vulnerable just with the pace shape of the race, the fast tempo, coming back in distance.
He's the sort of one you've got to throw him in the quaddie, but you're hoping he gets beat with your others, I think. There's a good test to our new theory too. Von Hawk went up 22 points last start for beating Amenable. So he's on the 11 kilo rise in the benchmarks. See how he handles it.
We've graded everyone up again. What was a simple...
I don't think so. I think everyone kind of agreed. He's a good horse, but he's just very, 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 very short. I'd probably mark him about $15 in other words, personally.
You're a clown. Somehow we're going to go back into reverse. I was a little bit all over the shop this morning with the programming of the show. Just got a bit lost in the AFL scandal and the controversy there and all sorts of happenings. But we're going to go back to Rosehill Race 8, and I've got a couple of replays here. So I'm making...
You're going to Rosehill?
No, I'm making you do 4 races again.
Oh,
so
okay,
my
sorry.
apologies. But...
You actually threw this on the roster. I threw it out and you threw it back in. You're the best.
Thrown it back. I have. So Post Impressionist, $2.40 favourite here, $2.45. And then you got Buckaroo, $4.60, Tom Kitten, $6.50, Ashron, $8.50, Military Mission, $9.50, Morfellon's Gear Up, not Gear In, $34 into $19. And Bois de Jean, $26. And then Donny's horse, Calipore, $34. Hopefully it sneaks a place for the great man. But let's have a quick look at a couple of replays. Post Impressionist first, then we'll look at Buckaroo. Walt.
So they went way too quick here, and these were literal camels. Like the Canberra Cup forms, it's not camel form, but it's like fast camel form, I guess you'd say. And then they put the race on for this bloke down the outside. Obviously, this was the kickoff for the stable. Betting was a bit weird, bit soft, but came down the right part. They ran fast time and whatever. And you can see like he's obviously a natural stayer getting away from the ones on the inside. But I just, is this the plan for him, or is it just the lure of the 800 grand, I guess is the question.
Buckaroo, back on the fence.
Yeah, so back again in the wrong part of the track, couple of serious horses down the outside, ridiculously slow tempo here, and then just a sprint home, and the classy sort of horses sort of outdid it down the outside. Buckaroo's probably got the worst setup I've ever seen for a 2,400 metre race here, and I can't understand why it's 480. Usually when I say that about a Waller horse, they win untouched. So, he was weird set up into that race. His run was good, but that's a mile, and now he jumps to 2,400 7 days later.
2,000.
Is it 2,000?
That was 2,000.
So, okay. So how far was Post Impressionist race? Because you've confused me a little bit.
That was 2,400.
So he's got to come back in trip.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So
Buckaroo. I thought Buckaroo was pretty good there through the line.
Yeah, sorry. I thought it was 2,400. I've had a mental
2,000.
breakdown. But the horse that I sort of was straight on the text message trying to encourage him to back Tom Kitten up here because I thought it was underdone last week, and it's probably the interesting horse, but $7 whatever. I couldn't possibly back Post Impressionist no matter what. And then, as I said, I don't think, even though I had the wrong distance, Buckaroo's got a great setup either. So it's a good race to go looking around. I actually thought Ashrun would be second favourite. Again, the boys probably know him better than me, but I thought his win down there was really dominant last start. They obviously went quick, and he was probably well suited, but he looks like he's been targeted at this race, whereas the others kind of don't look like they have to me.
What's going on with this Morfellons? And
does anyone know?
It just creeps right into DK and Nico territory. So I thought his win in the Parramatta Cup was a beauty. He looked dead as a doornail, to be honest.
That's when Josh rode it and it got sort of half checked and back to the inside.
And then back to the inside, and the inside's a bit pooey, and that's why I think Buckaroo was sort of not bad the other day as well. He sort of was still making ground along the fence, but More Felons, they've won the Parramatta Cup, which I thought brilliant, and then it's taken down to the Donald Barrow trial, which I'm yet to see. But what a strange thing to do. And now Jay McDonald just jumps back in the saddle. So Jay Parr loses another great ride. But More Felons, this looks like a big grand final race. But what's Waller doing, taking them down to Victoria?
This is 2,400, by the way. Tancred Stakes.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You said 2,000, you mongo.
No, I said Buckaroo. You didn't listen. Buckaroo was in the Ramvet, 2,000 metre race, and you said that was a mile. That was a mile. And then Post Impressionist, 2,400.
You're growing me up with these staying races. I don't deal in 2,400s, mate. I cap out at 1,200. I cap out at 1,200. Well, what do you do with it? What do you do with More Felons? It's 25 to 1 the other day. They put Josh on it, which obviously means they don't really like it, and it wins. So I'm not saying it wasn't trying. I'm saying that they don't really care, and it goes around and wins. So he's obviously got huge upside. But what is the horse? I don't even know what that horse is.
Well, the horse nearly beat. I think the horse had no feet or whatever it was, and nearly beat Ashron, and it was the biggest run ever in the Geelong Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I'm reversing everything again here. Buckaroo, none. Post Impressionist back in the race because it's 2,400. Ash Run, I would have clear second pick. And I don't know what to do with More Felons because it's Uncle Chris. I'd probably throw it in the bin.
I think he'll grow a leg on a wet track, More Felons. Like looking at him from a tight point of view, see him in the Geelong Cup and the Melbourne Cup. I backed him in the Melbourne Cup. So, look, I'll probably go have something on here with just a nice setup. I think the intriguing part of this race is Post Impressionist and Ash Run just come out of very fast run lead-ups. Now they come to a weight for age, Group 1, where there's not a lot of speed on paper. Could be a bit more of a sit and sprint to what they're used to, and they look like genuine stayers. So I think Sydney Cup might be more where I'm looking to get involved with them. I don't know. I think I might have gone half crazy here, but I found Boy de Jacques. I thought his first up run was good. He ran fourth in the Caulfield Cup. He'd probably be better suited to a handicap, but his run in the Metrop was good. Should just get the right run and can probably sprint well, off a slow tempo here, which is more likely. Buckaroo has no form past 2,000 metres. Seems a weird horse to throw in at 2,400, but this race is a little bit up for grabs. But, looking at his overseas profile, you kind of think, maybe he's running some staying races over there. He's never seen past 2,000 even over there. So, bit of a weird lead up last start, the slow run race. So, and then you got Tom. But I'm going Boy de Jacques. I think he just gets the PR here.
You'd nearly send Tom straight to the front, wouldn't you? Honestly, I'm not even joking. I'd nearly send him straight to the front. Military Mission obviously will probably maybe have a go at that as well. And he can win too. I thought his run was good the other day. You can kind of make a good... It's a good race. If Buckaroo wins, I'll be broke, but that's all right.
That's an interesting point that you make. Maybe he hasn't been fit because he's just... To my eye, there's just something's looked amiss with him, and I've just never been able to get him as short. Tom Kitten.
Oh, Tom Kitten. Yeah, so that fellow who looks at Mark, he rang me before the race the other day. He's like, this horse too pretty, won't be winning today.
Wow.
So and he's like, well, and if he wants to have any hope in the Derby, he has to run this week. So yeah. Interesting.
And that's when I sort of looked at Buckaroo, I thought, his run was okay. And then I'm thinking, well, why is J-Mac not on this bloody horse? And he's on More Felons for some strange reason. So, yeah, if I had to bet, which I don't really love the race, I'd probably think More Felons or Tom Kittens.
You must love the race. You put it on the roster. I took it off. You put it back on. You must have a big horn for More Felons here, and you're just too scared.
Well, the deadline to start the show was 10 minutes away, so I had to put some.
He's not going to get the... He's not going to get a wet track either, More Felons, and he did have he had bar plates or something. He had something go on last prep. They came off this prep, so he's obviously got a little bit tender feet. So I think Nico's probably barking up the right tree there too. Yeah, fascinating race because it's a bit of it looks like a non-target race for nearly all of these horses. Buckaroo wins. I'm back in with DK. We're going to Antarctica together.
Another shade of grey. So more grey. Not really definitive here. So everyone's going wide. All right, I'm going to put the car back in reverse and go back to Flemington for my best or my black booker this week. And I'm going to go to the 2,600 metre Roy Higgins. So we're just going to go into these filthy
Can we watch all the replays from the start?
Glentanius is the favourite here, $4.80. Mancayan is $4.80. Dunkel $5.50. DK's horse Mark Twain looking for the Melbourne Cup qualifying, $6. Gear up $7. And Duckman Sweet Jr. $8.50. Mostly cloudy $10. Strawberry Rock $13. Major Beal $26. And you got Don't Doubt Dory, Salino, and Port Guillaume there also. The black booker that I like here is a horse called Duckman Sweet Jr. You've got horses like Young Werther, Fortner Park, Esty Fenny, Berkeley Square. And this horse was its first run since the Melbourne Cup here, and they ran it quite quickly, and then the sprint went on, and he was just left a little bit flat-footed. There he is back on the rail with the white hat there in the OTI colours. And I actually thought he hit the line. His last 200, he sort of picked himself up and sort of rallied again. And for a horse that was first up off the Melbourne Cup versus all these other horses that are up and going, like Young Werther is as fit as a Mallee bull, and he's going into the Australian Cup. Also, Esty Fenny, Fortner Park come out and won the Albury Cup at Bolted in. But here, Daquin Sweet Jr. is in the OTI colours again, and he just couldn't sprint without a fight, which is fair enough. Like, that horse was absolutely airborne, but he's whacking away into fifth, and the horse chasing here now is Ashrun. So he finishes right beside Ashrun in the Melbourne Cup. And I think this horse is just really well weighted to win this race, Daquin Sweet Jr., 56 kilo. The other thing is he actually sort of dwelt at the start in the Melbourne Cup, Daquin Sweet Jr., so he had to hunt him up for the first sort of 300 metres for Daquin Sweet Jr. to
Are you getting
find a
paid
position in the
per
race.
time you say Daquin Sweet Jr.?
What do you want me to say? The horse?
I reckon I'm going to go through and put the counter on it and put a thing up. I reckon you've said it 17 times. Here we go. Go again. 18.
So I think it's a crazy price. I think $11 or around the traps and $8.50 TopSport is huge. I think he's just an each way bet to nothing here.
Which horse?
Daquin Sweet Jr.
Okay, cool.
So you can draw a line through the favourite, like with Glentanius or whatever. He's $4.80 favourite, and he's got this sort of the Ashrun form. But this horse is every bit as good as Ashrun, in my opinion. He meets Menkayan better at the weights. Dunkell, not sure what happened to him. Haven't had time to have a look at the stewards report, but he was beaten 8, and he's got to carry 58.5 kilos here. Where would a horse like Dunkell finish in the Melbourne Cup? Not sure. Mark Twain's the query horse here. And then you got Gear Up, who's a dual nominator, mostly cloudy. Somewhat interesting from the Trent Bussetton yard, but I think he's an out-and-out stayer. Daquin Sweet Jr., $11 and $3 a place. I'll be chips in him big time. You boys, I actually chose a Flemington race so I get a bit of feedback too. The last couple of weeks it's been all just sort
I think
of
all of us,
one-way
before
traffic.
even Nico has an opinion here, looking at his face here, because only I can see it, he'd much rather you stick to two-horse races in Brisbane where you could just go, that seems much more appreciable. What do you think, Nico?
Well, I thought it was like Gurntanius was huge last start in the Pakenham Cup, but he probably did have the race run to suit, fast run 2,500. That's the first fast run race Dunkell's ever seen in its life, and there's no evidence to suggest off that run that he can actually stay. Like, he's winning the SA Derby, it was a slow run race, a bit of a sprint home, and he's seen that a lot recently. So I think you'd be, pulling your hair out a bit if you're thinking he's going to get to a Melbourne Cup of what we saw last start. So I'd be happy to risk him. And then you've got Mark Twain, who, I don't know if you boys saw the replay last start in New Zealand, it should have bolted in. Like, it was given absolutely none. Looked like they walked out in front. He was over racing early, then he got trapped back in the field. His last 200 metres, he's flying home. He looks pretty deadly down in the weights, and I thought there's a huge chance he just flies a Glentanius everywhere it goes. MD just gets him to the right part of the track, and we've seen how good he is in staying races recently. So, yeah, I thought Mark Twain's a bit deadly, and everyone's potting it. It sounds like you're going to get $8 or $9 Mark Twain the way this market's sort of trending. So I think he's a horse that looks just ready to go there, coming back from 3,200 and should find a fast run race.
Yeah, I do concede. He did have 52 kilos that day, up to 55. So the good thing about Daquin Sweet Jr. he's only got 1 more kilo more. DK, Dunkell, what are your thoughts on that horse? Nico says he mightn't be a genuine stayer.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. He's. I'm still. No, jury's out a little bit. I know Paddy's got an intention of just getting him to the Melbourne Cup in the spring. It's a very light prep, not even running in the Caulfield Cup, just sitting for that 3,200 metre race. So, I was a little bit disappointing the other day, but no, I'm not selling out on him yet as a genuine stayer.
Can I ask DK an aside, mate? I can't remember the name of the horse. You know the Ultra Tune horse that you love, it's a 2,000 metre plus horse. I thought it went like a rocket first up somewhere. I haven't seen it since.
Is that Captain Envious or something?
Is that him? I was trying to look him up.
Yeah, it is.
He hasn't been sighted again, has he? Since you...
Not that I haven't sighted him, no. No, I'll have a look, come back to you.
Captain Envious.
All right. Okay, I think that's the race then.
That's the race.
That's the race.
What do you like?
Duck and Sweet
Okay,
Junior.
cool.
Backing each way, loading place, loading win, and just wind down your window because if it wins, you'll definitely hear me. This will be a big result, big fat result.
Tune out for the show next week.
Yeah, don't watch the show next week. All right, puntingform.com.au is how I do the form. So if you want to transition into a semi or pro punter, make sure you get puntingform.com.au and give it a go. And you can measure up all that benchmark data and try and piece the puzzle together a little bit more easier than just the off-the-shelf form that you get for free around the traps. Donnie, last week, Bubba's Bay, he's back into it again, and it's a waterlogged Doomben track, I assume, and let's see who he likes this week.
G'day, lads. Happy Easter. Deferential gets his chance this weekend. Heavy track. He loves it. It'll sit closer. I think it's very hard to beat in race 2 or race 10, whichever one he gets a run in. Looks very hard to beat. Pretty keen on it. In race 1, a bit of a value play. Mashani Eclipse to run a place. Good luck. Happy Easter.
There you go. Easter Bunny coming early. Poor old Donnie had deferential going for a stack at Eagle Farm and they got washed out. And I think it was the only horse that was going to be suited by the wet track. So bit sick there. I think it was $3 into $2.40 and yeah, abandoned.
Yes, June. Abandoned.
Good to see the sun out though. It's been
it's
miserable,
been that joint does dry out super quick. So hopefully no more rain and it gets back to something tenable.
So nice little value play there for Donnie. Doomben race 1, number 2, Mashani Eclipse. So $18 a win and $3.50 to place at TopSport, and then find out which dual nominated race differentials in because Donnie's keen both. So that's very bullish. But hopefully D Thornton off. TopSport Steamers last week 2 from 4, which is good, and we've got a couple here. So race 2, number 10, Little Mix is at Rosehill, $300 at $7.50. You got that far yet, Walt?
Which race is that? Because it was dual
2.
nommed. It was in the Tancred as well. It's not the Tancred, is it?
Into $5. Whoa.
Ready to win, but Schiller the Thriller, awkward draw, up against sort of Serpentine's A-Rack. I'm not sure about Renaissance Woman with Schumacher. So, ready to win, but I think it's got a couple of hard nuts to crack up the top of the betting.
Flemington race 8, number 7, Pride of Jenny. This could be Walt. 1,000 at $2.90. So we've covered that one, done that one.
I'd like to hold that because I think you'll get better.
Yeah. Doomben race 4, number 3 is He's Heaven. $250 at $9 against Masquerade, Iverson, Commodus, Mayfair Spirit, Redwood Shadow. Haven't got that far, but looks like a pretty good betting race, that one. So He's Heaven's been 9 into $6. So touch $4.60. So obviously someone very, 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 very smart has backed that horse for that one to go off. And the Drover form looks pretty good for that, I would have thought, just on a quick look at that. Come back from the Class 6 to the benchmark 78. So no surprise to see it staying rock hard in the market here, but we'll get to that one.
No clue, me.
Yeah, a bit deeper later. And the other one, Oakbank, race 5, number 5, 16 Reasons, $1,250.
It's a big bet for you early, mate. You must be keen.
Yeah, I thought there was I haven't fully got across the Oakbank card yet, but I thought one of Michael Hickmont's might go close there. I think it's in about race 8. Taunting looks a good price there in the sprint, 1,100 metre race, $5.50.
Not going down this year.
To Oakbank?
Yeah. Didn't you go there with your old man?
Yeah, well, that was when Britannicus and the jumps were around. So now you've got Oakbank closed, and now they're cancelling the jumps races that are on too firm a track at Warrnambool. So we might have to put the horse up for sale at Inglis. Oh, it's like it's Cactus. How can we win a race and get his rating up high enough on a bloody
Gay
bog track?
Wardhouse's going to win all the hurdles anyway, mate. Gay's just going to win them all. So what does it matter?
Who with?
She's going to put a whole team on there. I think Stormboy will win the hurdles this time here.
Major Beale?
Yeah, Major Beale. Apparently it can jump. Yeah, Jumping Jai Tarima. Old Major Beale, they say. But I'm just not sure if he's alive after he got the aggressive ride first up.
Has to be like one of the only horses in history to win a Group 1 and then the next campaign be set for a jumps campaign.
But that's a kind of a sign of what the benchmark ratings do. Like, he obviously deserves it. He's won a Derby. He deserves to get carved ratings-wise, but they can't find a race for him. So, it's mad, but it's probably not mad.
Oh, we shall see. I think Britannica's back in on stall on Sunday, but horse absolutely flying. So just praying that they don't put the sprinkles on too much the May Carnival. But after Monday's abandonment, I'm tipping we are off ski. But horse flying going better than last year when he won the Briley. So terrific there. DK. It's time for DK. Salsita. Last week, B, Shin, Peach. I was sitting there eating pizza and I was like, holy heck, that's the bloody 12 out of 10, 15 out of 10 timing. Don't want it again.
And I don't want it again. As I said to you at the time, it was a brutal watch, Scoot, when you're a little bit desperate for it. I said it was going to be cupboard time if it got beat. And it just when the other horse had its revs up on the outside of it, but there's always that chance. Doesn't really, funny horse, that Thoughtful Woman, sort of just forever running on, but might be a bit of a pack animal. But great ride, Bishin.
He's gone, ridden your horse, whatever it was, Thursday, Friday night, ridden the Golden Slipper winner, second in the Hong Kong Derby on Sunday. He's down here. Geez, he's getting around.
No, Bishin, like Bishin. Yes, well, Scoot, looking at the calendar, there's only that Yarra Valley meeting tomorrow, and then there's Cranbourne tomorrow night. So I was what am I going to find here? I'm doing a couple of races there, and then it struck me, hello, public holiday. The fields will be out for the provincials on Saturday, Warwick, Nabil and Keyrang. So beautiful, just put through Cranbourne out and had a look at the Warwick, Nabil and Keyrang and found, yes, Kerrang, please. Race 1, number 7, I think it's called, En Premier. It's a rare Paddy Payne horse that goes forward. So they're very hard to find. He's got a stable to get back, like having cover, run on late. This thing goes forward. So went forward on debut at Terang, stuck on well, and I think it's a pretty handy form race. The winner there goes good. Thing called Monetoile came after this in the straight, and this held it off nice and strong late. Monetoile went terrific at Bendigo subsequently. Went terrific, so that's decent form. Thought this will just roll to the front around Kerrang and be very hard to get past. So for Paddy Payne, En Premier.
So the Terang form will hold up at Kerrang. You got no idea where either of those places are, do you, Walt?
No. I'll give a Jared. A shout out to DK, my friend Jared. He had one that he got off the hazes the other day, and he thought it'd win $1.70. He's like, oh, how are we going to get $1 out of it? We'll bet on the margins. And so 3 lengths plus was like $6.50 or something. It says it's $1.70. And it was at least 3 in front, wasn't it, with about 50 to go. And you've got to wait 15 minutes for the official margins to come up. I think it was 2.7. Now, that's a cupboard job, DK. That was an enjoyable one. When you've won the race and you still don't know if you're going to collect and you get reamed 15 minutes later, that was a new experience. But
I'm tipping you still did all right out of the race if you're backing it to win by 3.
Didn't lose, but certainly the cream was taken off the pie, but he's still doing a good job, our friend Jared.
Yeah, outstanding. He's absolutely airborne.
DK's man now.
My man, they're all
DK
just building up slowly, R3 for the winter they're not winter up there, so the carnivals up there. So that's what I'll be targeting.
Yeah, outstanding. All right, I think that's a wrap from us. Good luck, Nico, on your little holiday. DK, you're back in Fresh Hill with the missus. I'm just here betting. You're betting.
Every day's the same. I just laugh like, Nico, doesn't everyone go away for Easter? No, mate. No. It's just with DK. He's just got 3 weeks of pain. He's got another 2 weeks coming, or 3 weeks with the school holidays starting next week.
Yeah,
we're gone.
Get out there to Yarra Valley too. You may not ever see a race meeting like it at Yarra Valley. $500,000, $150,000, $100,000 races, $65,000 races.
1.2 million. But the government does throw in for that because it's to promote the district. And that's why it rotates around between 6 districts every year to a different track. So that's not the government sort of pumping that up a bit. So they try and get people to get up there for the weekend and get to the races and get to the wineries and the chocolate factories and all that, whatever you can do up in that area. So it's a bit of a tourism thing.
District.
I'll be going to Stations of the Cross. I'll be going to Stations of the Cross tomorrow and Mass on Sunday and just see if I can pray to back some winners.
I'll have my bunny suit on at some point. I know that.
Yeah. A bit of seafood on Friday might be the go.
Yeah, I've already bought the prawns and the salmon, mate. Looking forward to that.
Too good. Righto.
Good luck with your drive, Nico.
Yeah, safe travels, Nico. And what was it? What was the cafe that I gave? There's a little bit of a trick there. The Moss Vale, the fish and chips. It's the new Astor Cafe, Moss Vale, just before Bowral. They do cracking burgers and schnitzel burgers as well. So if you're stuck on the road to Sydney, yeah, stop at Moss Vale, new Astor Cafe. Absolutely sensational food.
Okay.
They'll be our sponsors next week. See you guys.